Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Hey, welcome to Red Menace TV here on ProView Network's Leroy Lucero, along with Michael Carlisle.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
So, Lobo spring practice finished.
Yes.
No spring game again. They did have an open practice, I guess.
Well, a couple of scrimmages, open scrimmages.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't like back in the day. It was like a, and I don't know how well that. I mean, I used to go because there was football, but
sure.
I don't know how well it was attended other than a few people, but it was always fun to go break out the barbecue grill and do some barbecue at a tailgating at a spring game. But obviously, UNM's kind of fallen on hard times as far as people attending just games, much less a spring practice.
Right. So I think you answered your own question.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, and that's fine. Look, at this point, well, why do a spring game? Focus on the practice, focus on getting better and getting ready for the fall. Because quite honestly, where Lobo football is right now, that's what matters. Trying to come in and get ready and have a better season and, try to turn this program around.
Well, the reason I brought it up is because we're going to have Steve Virgin on from the Albuquerque Journal, a Lobo football beat writer, to talk about Lobo football and just see how things are going with that, see if they're going at all. There has been information, but obviously there was questions coming from the Lobo football program. Did I lose my mic?
No, it's still there.
Okay. The Lobo football program.
First time doing TV?
Yeah, right, exactly, right. I think the big question is quarterback,
sure,
running back, new offensive and defensive coordinator. Probably DBs is something that you.
There are a lot of questions. There's not, and I'm not trying to be flippant, but I mean, there's not the big question. There are a lot of questions.
I'm trying to rank them though.
Sure, defense might be one.
You think so?
To be quite honest.
And see, to me, I think quarterback is one because that's where they've been killed the past decade.
They've gone through a lot of quarterbacks, injuries and whatnot. Absolutely, no, you're right. They got killed defensively last year.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, they did. That's hence new defensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator chose to leave. And I guess you could say that Cosgrove chose to leave, if that's what you believe. But that was necessitated. I mean, they basically made that change last year.
Cosgrove ended up where?
LSU.
I wonder if he makes more money there in his position than as an assistant coach here.
Yes.
So that's probably a decent choice then.
Yeah.
I mean, for the pocketbook wise, anyway. Yeah. Just saying. I mean,
sure.
I mean, at his age, I mean, I don't know what the opportunity is for a head coaching position down the line. If you're a young coordinator, obviously you want that assistant coaching job. But if you're the older,
here's what it comes down to global football, and we'll talk about this with Steve in a minute. If you're a glasses half full kind of person, there's nowhere to go but up. If you're a glasses half empty kind of guy and you're kind of pessimistic, and I think that's kind of where a lot of Lobo fans are right now, is like, can we see any improvement this year?
Yeah.
So,
and then also when it comes down to when you're talking about improvement, you're talking about wins and losses. You're not talking about just, hey, all of a sudden the offense looks good. Because when Davey first got here, it was 1-11, 1-11. Improvement was, can we see a viable offense and a viable defense? And I think you saw that with the offense at that point.
Yeah. Look, we're way past moral victories at this point. You've got to see, tangible results, wins on the field.
Wins on the field.
Look, the schedule's not overly difficult. Yes, you have the Notre Dame game, but that's a game of it's not. It's the Aggies. You're at Liberty, and I get it. They lost to Liberty here last year, but you should beat Liberty. Sam Houston State, and then you've got the conference part of it. You can't do anything about the conference.
Right.
So, I mean, that is what it is. But if you can be 3-1 going into conference play, you're setting yourself up. Now, I'm not saying they will be.
Right.
But they shouldn't lose to the Aggies or Sam Houston State.
And Liberty's toss-up, you think?
Well, Liberty's on the road. No, they should not lose to Liberty either. But to be fair, it is back in Virginia. So.
Right, yeah, okay. Cool, so we'll talk about that. Also, news come up, and I did want to talk to you about this because you are in the media. We did want to talk a little bit about the Mountain West Conference and the television package or the media package. Your part, I mean, I guess, is the radio separate than what they're talking about in the TV? So those are different things.
Yeah.
So the Mountain West Conference as a whole is negotiating that deal, not just UNM, whereas on your situation, that was UNM that negotiates it?
And we can get into more of this. It's the Mountain West kind of sort of minus Boise, because Boise was to keep Boise in the conference. They were kind of given carte blanche to do what they wanted with their home games.
Do they still have that?
That's my, we'll talk more about it with Steve Virgin in a couple of weeks. But that's my understanding, yes.
Boy, Boise's not the same that they were 5 years ago.
And the conference wouldn't be the same without them even now.
Well, no, you're right. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I mean, they are still somewhat of a darling nationally, would you say?
Yeah.
Somewhat. I don't think there is. I mean, they're not at their peak because when they first came into the conference, they were at the peak.
Sure.
So, anyways, we'll also have Micah Frankel on to talk. Did we want to talk about the Cubs at all?
If we have time.
Okay.
I'm always about talking.
You're always about
Cubs,
talking baseball?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Isa Duke still trucking along, and then of course United is also doing well, though they did suffer the first loss. But they are getting people in the stadium. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with Micah Frankel at CageMinds.com, and then Steve Virgin.
Perfect.
By Gabby O'Hara, number 35. Corner three's up, and it's good. Good move to the basket. Alyssa. Shot is up, and it's good. Mark back to check that. It's not Benali, it's Gallegos. Shot goes up. This time she gives it up to her teammate, who spins and scores. Thinks twice about the three, penetrates, splits the double team. To Marcus, he's not afraid. He penetrates, puts it up with a back, bringing it up. Is she going to take it all the way? And indeed she does. Lays it up and good by Estrella Sanchez. Offensive rebound. But there's a countdown. He goes, oh, the block. Get that out of here. Mackey puts it up.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
Ah!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Welcome to Cage Minds, the place where we talk about people getting punched in the face. I'm Micah Frankel. We got highlights. We got a lot of stuff coming up this week. We got an interview. Let's get right to it and start with the highlights from last weekend's action. Start with some UFC Fight Pass. Titan FC, titles being won with a second-round knockout. Rafael Alves is the new lightweight champion with a fourth-round knockout. After fighting through some adversity, Jason Soares retains the Titan FC featherweight title. In LFA action, Jason Jackson submits Scott Terrell with a arm triangle choke in the second round. Then we go over to the main event where Clovis's own Harvey Park picks up the LFA lightweight title with a first-round TKO, only 2 seconds left on the clock. A beautiful right hand led to a takedown, and ground and pound scored the finish. Got some boxing action. Daniel Roman defeats TJ Delany to become the WBA IBF Junior Featherweight Champion. You also had Juan Francisco Estrada defeating Rungsavai to pick up the WBC Super Flyweight title. You had UFC action in Florida. Glover Teixeira able to get a rear naked choke of Ian Cunthalaba, one of the better finishes of the night. And then in the main event, in what some people will call an upset, Jack Hermansson on very short notice is able to stun Jacare, outworking the Brazilian for 5 rounds for unanimous decision victory. Bellator action, that cut right there would stop the fight, and Ilima-Lei McFarland retains the Bellator flyweight title against Vito Ortega. In a wild one where McDonald landed kicks, got out grappled for a couple rounds, it scored a draw. The champ retains the title and advances in the tournament in a wild one there for Bellator. Dinar advances in the World Super Series Boxing Championships with a knockout victory, and Regis Progress took only 6 of his 12 rounds to get it done, winning the WBA Junior Welterweight title, also advancing to the World Boxing Super Series semifinals. And you had, real quick, Robert Easter there winning. This week's action includes Friday night LFA, Joby Sanchez in action in the main event against Brandon Royval. That's up in Vail, Colorado. I'll be there live. Same night on UFC Fight Pass, Invicta has a one-night, 8-woman strawweight title tournament. It's Invicta Phoenix Rising 1 with a title on the line. Albuquerque's Amber Brown is there fighting in an alternate bout. Saturday, you have Bellator action over in the UK. Former champion Brett Premis is in the main event. A host of the UK's top talent on that card you can watch on the Bellator app. There's UFC action from Ottawa, Canada on Saturday night, and an exciting one in the main event. Donald Cowboy Cerrone, Raging Ally Aquinta. You know that's going to be a barn burner. Derek Brunson, Elias Theodoro in the co-main event. The boxing main dish of the weekend is Canelo versus Jacobs, the middleweight title unification there on DAZN. All the belts are on the line, and they're two heavy hitters. Not to mention, on Sunday, tune in to UFC Fight Pass for some more Muay Thai action. And on the local scene, don't forget, May 10th, Isleta, Fresquez, JW Fight Night 5, Steam, Meevan Machine Garcia, and Andrew Whitney in the main event. June 8th, Southwest Mixed Martial Arts Series 28. Jess Martinez, the Santa Fe native, up there in the main event at Buffalo Thunder once again. And now we're here to the interview portion of the show. We get to welcome in a really cool guest this week. UFC bantamweight Ray Borg is here with us. How you doing, Ray?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for being here. Coming off of a great fight, a hard-fought, scrappy fight.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you thought you won it in the moment. What was that like, going through so many scrambles, so many transitions? What was that fight like, though? Tell us about that first off.
I mean, it was a good fight. You know, I clearly thought I won the fight. You know, my coaches thought we won the fight. You know, we felt like we had the upper hand in a lot of things in that fight. We felt like we controlled the fight. You know, in the moment, you know, it was one of those fights that it was just to get. I felt like I was remaking my UFC debut. You know, and it almost kind of went very similar to my UFC debut. You know, I felt like being gone a year and a half, I had a lot of ground to make up, and you know, I had a huge adrenaline dump. But ultimately, you know, it's part of the game. It all happens. It's happened to me before, and the only thing I have to do is just move forward, you know?
So when you went back and looked at the film, oh yeah, I did score it for you, of course. What did you think when you looked back at the fight?
I look back, and you know, I'm not a biased person. I'm a real person, you know. I can say when I've lost a fight. You know, I don't go over there. I lost to Justin Scoggins, and I don't go over there and start, you know, talking a bunch of stuff, saying that, you know, I could have beat him, I should have beat him. On paper, I should have beat him, but, you know, we all have those bad nights. So I'm a really honest man when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I went back immediately, and I found the fight online, and I watched it because I wanted to know where either I went wrong or where the judges went wrong. I wanted to see where they gave him the fight. So I went and I watched, and I was very honest with myself. You know, round one, I could have given it to him, you know. I mean, I still felt like maybe I was sometimes more the aggressor. I had the bigger takedowns, but I gave him round one. I did. You know, he controlled a little bit more. I ended on top, and I was landing a couple hard shots, but I still gave him the first round. But the second and third, I clearly gave to myself, you know. And when I went back and looked at the fight, you know, a lot of people were saying significant strikes is what won the fight. Neither of us threw significant strikes, so that's where I was confused. Is both of us came out unscathed. I mean, it was more of a grappling-based fight. You know, I'm not going to say, no, I landed the hardest strikes, or no, he landed the hardest strikes. No one really landed any hard strikes. You know, no one ever took any damage. I think the most exchanges during that fight was the last 10 seconds when we both went at it, and that was about it. So that's what I went back to look to see, these significant strikes people were talking about, but ultimately there was none from either side. So, you know, when it comes down to the more grappling-based fight, you know, I felt like I had the upper hand.
Okay, so besides a disdain for the judges, what do you take away?
Take away a learning experience, you know. That's literally the only way you can ever view a loss. If you dwell on a loss and, you know, be hurt that you lost, then you're just going to always lose it, you know, mentally. You're not going to gain, you're not going to grow. And, you know, and that's what we're all in this sport for, and even in life for, is to grow. So, you know, I just take it as a learning experience, you know, things that I need to work on inside the gym, outside the gym, and things like that. And, you know, it's all been a learning process.
So would you attribute that adrenaline dump to probably, it had been so long since you fought, and there had been so many times where it seemed like you were in camp and you were so close. So you think that kind of played a part on how your emotions were that night, your excitement levels?
No, you know, I hate making excuses, man. I'm not an excuse kind of guy, but I know adrenaline dumps are real. I've heard fighters have them. I've seen fighters have them, but I never had one. I've always done a great job of controlling my adrenaline. You know, when I'm backstage, I'm calm, listening to music, joking around with my teammates, whatever. But something about this fight, from being away for so long, and not just that, all the trials and tribulations my family had to go through to get to that point, I had already had a lot of emotions boiling up. And then to add on top of it, as I was walking out, so as they have you lined up to walk out, they have a monitor right by the walkout that kind of shows you what they're seeing on TV. And while I was lined up getting ready to walk out, they started showing pictures of my son. And as soon as they started showing pictures of my son, I lost it. I started crying as I was about ready to walk out. I was so hyped on adrenaline. The whole time I was pacing back and forth. I was getting really antsy. I was pissed at the same time. And then as soon as they showed my son, it just hit me hard, you know. And then not to mention the Philly crowd was amazing. As soon as I started to walk out, they just went nuts, you know. So that all boiled up, and about halfway through the first round, when he had me up against the cage, my arms just went like that, and I was all like, holy crap, I'm having an adrenaline dump. And from then on, it was honestly just gutting it out and, you know, pure heart to get through the fight.
And then we saw, unfortunately, another snafu on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go from there? What do you do now? What's the plan to make sure that doesn't happen again?
Something that's a long time coming, you know, which is controlling my outside life. You know, that's always been my problem is not that I had a problem making 25, not that I had a problem making 35. You know, when I'm in fight camp, I'm strict on my diet. When I'm at fight week, I cut the weight that I need to. But the biggest problem that I've always had is in between fights, I've let myself get so heavy that when I start training for a fight, it's less about a fight camp and more about a weight cut camp. So from about my fourth UFC fight, from the fourth UFC fight till now, it's always been weight cut camps. You know, they haven't quite been fight camps. So, you know, with this last instance, you know, even though, you know, there was other variables with it, you know, the whole week was just bananas. You know, so much more than people realize and so much more than people know. The whole week was bananas. So I did my best, and I could have done more, but you know, I did my best. And what I take from that and what I go home is, you know, me and my wife have already started to make some adjustments. You know, I not going to do what I used to do. You know, the old Ray Borg would fight at 125 pounds, 3 weeks later start to celebrate, and I'm already up to 163 pounds. Yeah, it's crazy as that sounds. So, you know, I've made sure that I've stayed in the gym consistently. I mean, you saw me there last night, and, you know, I've been making sure that, you know, we all control the eating in my house, so that way we're all, you know, that way I can go into a fight camp and be in a fight camp for once and not a weight cut camp.
Just to go with the celebration. Still planning for the celebration Twinkie, though?
You know what, man? I haven't had Twinkies in forever. So Twinkies were like my thing, right?
Right,
for a while.
that's why I asked.
They were my thing, but as funny as it is fans started to get, you know, kind of get the gist that, you know, like, oh, this guy likes Twinkies. So people started sending me Twinkies as fan mail. And it got to the point one day where I had a box of like 8 Twinkies. And I don't like, you know, my kind of family, we don't like to waste food. You know, wasting food's like bad in my family. Yeah. So wasting food's bad in my family. So I told my brother and my wife, I was like, what are we going to do? We have these 8 boxes of Twinkies and I need them out of the house. I'm about to go in fight camp. What do I do? She's like, I don't know, you're going to throw them away? I was like, I don't know if my heart will let me do it. I got to try and eat them. So I was like on 3 boxes of Twinkies one day. I had eaten 3 boxes of Twinkies, and it made me so sick that to this day I don't eat Twinkies anymore, which may be a good thing. You know, I may have made myself so sick off of them that it turned into a good thing. But ultimately, yeah, I tried to eat
overload.
I tried to eat like 6 boxes of Twinkies in one day, and it just did not go well.
And now let's update everybody on where Ray Borg is, who he's training with, who he's working with. I know you got a lot going on. A lot has changed since the last time we visited.
Yeah, you know, I switched camps. You know, I just, you know, every gym is for certain people. Everybody goes to a gym, and it's either you feel it or you don't feel it, and everybody knows that. And you know, I went to Jackson Wink. I was at Jackson Wink for a little while, and it just wasn't suitable for me. You know, and you know, nothing against them. You know, they have some of the best guys in the world, some of the best coaches in the world, great guys, but it just wasn't suitable for me. And so, you know, I ended up teaming up and partnering up with someone who I had fought in the past and who is now a good friend to me. So Nick Urso, you know, me and him sat down, talked about some stuff, and I started training at Jackson's MMA, you know, on Jackson's Tacoma. And it's been great. You know, we have it's kind of honestly an under the radar type thing going on over there. You know, it's actually turning into something really cool. and I think it's gonna unfold into something that's very unique. So I think it's a good thing going on over there, and it's cool to have like my own camp going on over there. I have my coaches Harry St. Ledger. I have Keno Veneer, who's also Cowboys wrestling coach. We have a great group of people there, and as far as the bodies that are coming in, they're some very familiar faces, and I really think that even though it had no intentions on being any type of fight gym, I think the old Jackson's MMA, the Jackson's Tacoma, is going to come under the radar and have some pretty cool stuff going on.
I'm happy that I knew that it was Nick was going to be in your corner before I saw it on TV, because I might have had a heart attack from the shock. Because was that a surprise to you that you two hit it off and clicked? I know that when you two fought for Legacy FC here, that was local main event. That had so much anticipation surrounding it. And now to see you guys come together like this is awesome, but quite astounding.
Yeah. It's a fight game, I mean, me and him have the same mindset towards opponents, it's kill or be killed. People are trying to take food and money out of your pocket and out of your mouth. So, we had the same mentality, and we really hit it off. And one thing I really like about Nick is he's a great coach, and he holds you accountable. He makes sure when you're there, you're doing what you need to do, or you need to be there to do what you need to do. And so, he's a good coach. He's a good fighter. He's a good coach, and he's got your back at the end of the day. So we hit it off really well, and I like where it's going.
And now currently also, it seems like everything's in a positive swing, from how you've been training, keeping your weight low, to even your son's health has even been better. Can you update on how he's doing?
Yeah, man, he's doing really, really good, with his condition's lifelong. So with that being said, it's all about meeting milestones with his condition. So, after he has a shunt placed in his head, the first 3 months you can go without an infection is a great milestone. And then the next 3 months, so once you hit that 6-month mark and the shunt hasn't malfunctioned yet, you're at another great milestone. That's a great milestone. And then once you hit a year of no shunt malfunctions, then the likelihood of it malfunctioning is a lot lower than in the first year. So it's all about getting that first year milestone, and we're finally getting close to it. We were always getting to that 3-month milestone and then coming back. His shunt would fail, or he'd get an infection, and it would pull us back, and he'd have to have another one. I believe we're about 6 months free of any type of surgery, which is the most normal things have been in my household in a while. So, we're finally starting to meet the milestones that we need to, and, we're really excited to get to that 1-year milestone with his current shunt. And, he's doing great. He's a hilarious baby. People tend to often just be in disbelief because he smiles and laughs so much. Anybody who follows me knows that I just post about him laughing so much, and it just shows how strong of a little kid he is, strong of a baby he is, and to go through 6 brain surgeries and just still laugh and goof around and act like nothing happened is just astonishing.
So and that's a great thing. And also with his health being on the positive swing, you and Amanda have both been able to get some consistency back in training, right?
Yeah, with him being stable and being on the course that he is, it's also made our life more stable. We can take care of what we need to take care of at home. We can train consistently, to the point where, my wife Amanda, she's been able to train so consistently that now she's on the move to jump back in and, get another fight. So it's been great for us,
Feels like you're turning the page almost to another chapter, because we had everything leading up to the title fight, and then basically since then it's been everything about Anthony. You've had now the reintroductory to the UFC. Does it feel like you're turning another chapter?
It does, man. It feels like a fresh start, like it really does feel like my UFC debut all over again. I lost a controversial split decision as well, my debut. And then from there on there, and I turned the pages, I grinded it out, and I had strung together some good wins against some top talent, and then things just started going up from there. So you know what, man, I'm just considering this as a fresh start. I got my feet wet. I mean, although it's a fight I felt like I should have won, there's no reason to cry over spilt milk. But, I got my feet wet. I remember what it's like to get in a fight. I missed it. That's the biggest part, is sometimes I took for granted how great this sport is and what a great opportunity that I have. And a 1.5 year long layoff and then getting back in there, as crazy as this is to say, I've never missed being punched in the face so much. You know, it made me realize how much I love the sport. You know, to be truly honest, I fell back in love with the sport with all the shenanigans that's been going on in the UFC, all the politics, all the bull crap. I honestly was like, man, I don't know how I feel about the sport anymore. It's not what it was when I first got into it. When I first got into it was in like 2006 when, you know, you were there to not just make money, but to prove you were the baddest dude, man. And then now you get dudes who are NFL football players making more than half the roster on their second UFC fight, which it is what it is. You know, it's business, I guess. You know, the new owner's business. So, but you know what? Getting in the fight, you know, 5 weeks ago just made me realize that I love this sport and, you know, I want to keep doing it.
One day we'll have the conversation about all the things we wish we could change about the sport that would probably most likely benefit, well, the fans and the fighters most importantly, and financially would be a huge one of those. But before we go down that rabbit hole, we should probably let you go before we're here for hours. It's always great getting to talk to Ray Borg. Thank you for being here, sir.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you guys for having me on.
More Red Menace TV in just a moment.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club or DreamStyleRemodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
At Gala Chevrolet, our master technicians service every make and model no matter where you purchase your vehicle. But that's not all. We also provide certified service on every GM model. So if your car's been acting a little funny lately or something just doesn't seem right, don't wait. Bring it in to the most modern service facility in the entire state and let us make sure that you're driving a vehicle you and your family can depend on. Service done right the first time, every time, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Hey, welcome back to Red Menace TV here on ProView Networks. I do want to give props to Micah Frankel and Ray Borg. What an excellent interview.
Yeah, it was really good.
Great guy. Just amazing. I like how we're caged minds still.
Absolutely.
We're talking
still
about
talking
it. We're
about
talking
it,
about it. So just amazing for a dad to be able to do that kind of stuff and stay focused and everything with a child that's sick and ill like that. And I think that's mad props to them.
Yeah, and I think first and foremost, Ray's a good dude.
Yeah.
And everything that he's had to go through with his son and all that, and they didn't get into it too much, but several fights getting pushed back for a variety of reasons, and now finally he seems like he's in a good place and starting to move forward again. I think that's really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. As promised, Steve Virgin of the Albuquerque Journal.
Hi there.
We've had him on before. We had him on last football season. And spring practice just wrapped up for the Lobos. And you were out at all the practices, right?
All of them.
So what do you think, man? Are we ready? Everyone's pumped. Everyone's ready to go.
Definitely.
Spring's always like one of those times when it's like, I know we're going to be good. I know we're going to be good. What did you see out there that you say, all right, this is better. This is a step up from last season?
They're definitely pumped. It's hard to determine if it's a step up, but you could tell about the energy. Energy's there for sure. For a team that's only won 6 games the past 2 seasons, you wouldn't notice because they do have a lot of energy there, and a lot of it comes from their new defensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator. The new defensive coordinator, Jordan Peterson, you can see him a lot. Running some drills with the players and doing the chest bump celebrations with them, and I mean the energy is really there, but time will tell. I think we'll get a better idea in August of what they're capable of doing.
Peterson had a little bit of an advantage having already been on the staff and was really calling plays the last several games of the season. How much of an edge, how much of a head start does that give him with the defense?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge for him, and he's more of an attacking mentality, aggressive, and I think we're going to see that. We saw glimpses of it in the spring. There were a couple of practices where the defense stood out, and they're going to get a big lift from Alex Hart coming back from injury, Trent Sellers coming back from injury, and Adebayo Serenicum, he got hurt towards the end of the season, so he's definitely going to give them some energy too, and some big plays. That's what they're looking for, but. He's definitely a bright mind for a defensive guy, and Davey's really excited about him. I think there's a lot of potential there for sure.
Now, Steve, when I used to cover Lobo football spring practice, I always went in with here are my 3 questions or 5 questions that I want answered during spring, or what I'm going to see different. Do you go into spring practice like that, where it's like, this is what I want to see, or this is where I want to see things grow, or do you just go in with let's just see what happens?
Well, a little bit of both, but there's some positions I like to key on, like to focus on. The fact that they brought in so many JUCO transfers, I was kind of interested in that. I mean, 18 JUCO transfers, and they're basically expecting contributions from all of them, and 13 of them were enrolled for this semester, so they were in the spring practices. So they've been a big part of what they're trying to do as far as turn around the season. 12 of those JUCO transfers are on defense. So they're going to need, they've been needing a lot of help on defense. So that's where they're hoping they're going to get contributions from on defense. The linebackers, there's 4 of them from JUCO transfers. And the one guy that I did kind of go in focusing on was a defensive back from Texas, Eric Cuffey. He actually began at the University of Texas, and then he went the JUCO route, and now he's at UNM. And he really didn't jump out as far as making plays, but on paper he's the type of guy that's going to make other players better. And he has that long frame that UNM has always wanted. And they're very excited about him for sure.
Something Coach Davey has tried to do with the JUCO players he brings in, and you just touched on it, is get as many of them here on campus in time for the spring practice as possible. And that may not seem like a big deal to some, but talk a little bit about how much of an advantage it is to get them here and have them go through the extra practices and participate during the spring.
Yeah, you could tell that was a huge deal. I thought it was kind of cliche when Bob brought it up, but you could tell each practice they got better and better. A couple of the other impressive kids, JUCO transfers, were the receivers, Emmanuel Logan Green and Jordan Kress from Butte College. They really contributed big time during the spring, and I wasn't expecting the receivers to jump out, and they did. And I thought a lot about the receivers last year as well, but there's just something special about these receivers this year that if they're really going to, because if they do turn around the season, it's going to be a surprise, and if that does happen, it's going to take a surprise like the receivers to stand out, and they have been standing out throughout the spring. They did stand out, made some big plays. They had one tough practice where they had a lot of drops, but yeah, for them to come, I mean, that's an example. For them to come during the spring and make plays like that and buy into the program and learn this new offense, it's huge. And if there's any reason why they do turn around the season, I think they're going to point back to that.
So the receivers, I think they've been decent the past couple of years. I think they've had a couple of targets that are really good, but I think the person that's delivering the ball has been the problem. And it's not that they're bad players, but they haven't remained healthy. UNM, I'm trying to think, when was the last time that a quarterback started the season and finished the season? And we talked about this a while back. Was it Portery?
It might have been Portery. The bowl win with Rocky.
Yeah. I think that's the last time that I can recall a quarterback, other than, maybe he gets dinged up or they decide to let the younger, I mean, I would count that, like if you have a younger guy, you're going to put him in just to give him a rep or whatever. But I'm talking stay healthy and be effective. It's been a long time. Last year was also that type of year where, do you see a quarterback? Do you think? I know one of your reports said that they hadn't decided on a starter. Do you think there's a starter out there and they're just playing coy, or are they really not sure?
I think they're playing coy. I think their offense runs the best with Tavaka Teote, and I think it's his job. But they want him to work hard and stay healthy. I think we can all agree that that's the big difference in all of college football is when you have the healthy quarterback and somebody stays there for all their games. But yeah, he's their most dynamic player. You could tell when he's in the game, when he's running the offense, it's more up tempo. There's a better rhythm to it. Players are excited. But this past spring, I saw Sharon Jones making some plays. And, he showed glimpses last year, too. And I think he is capable, but as far as preference and the best quarterback goes, I think, that first game, I think it's going to be Tavaka Teote. But, staying healthy would be the big question.
For sure. And if history has told us anything, we're probably going to see a couple of different quarterbacks, unfortunately.
I mean, to his credit, he has bulked up. He has bulked up, and I think it's just a matter of being smart when he runs and, knowing when to slide. And, he got hurt with his shoulder going into the ground last time. So he's learned from that. And, I think, he wants to stay healthy.
Sure, absolutely.
Last year we talked about this, Michael, when Jones took over, because I can't pronounce his name. Tuioti was out, and they didn't really feel comfortable with who was backing up Jones. Do you think that kind of hurt him last year, not being able to show all his talent with running the ball and that sort of thing? And has he been able to show that now this year?
Hurt Sharon?
Yeah, because I mean, I think they asked him to kind of stay in the pocket a little bit more. They didn't really want him rolling out because they were afraid of him getting hurt.
Sure.
So they really kind of tempered the entire offense. I think. I don't know. We talked about this, Michael, last year. Do you think, given the opportunity to basically run exactly what they want to do, that he could be that he is a good quarterback and could start?
I think he's a good quarterback.
Is that a possibility?
I think he's a good quarterback. I'd just be surprised he beat out Tavaka, but I think Sharon does bring some great qualities, and he's had a good spring. He did make some nice throws, and I think they have the confidence in him. They brought in Brent Hughes, another JUCO player from Butte College, and he has a good arm. He really does have a good arm. He's not the running type, but he did have some rushing yards and some rushing touchdowns at Butte. But you would expect him to be more of a pocket passer, and he does bring a lot of qualities too. So in that sense, what you're saying, I think they do feel safe if it gets down to that. and they might be able to turn Sharon loose more when he's in there.
Let me ask you this: with what they want to do offensively, with passing more, do they have one guy who can do everything exactly the way they want it? Point being, you said you thought Tuioti looks like he's going to be the guy. Can he pass enough to be the guy? The JUCO kid, can he run enough to be the guy? Can Sharon, who didn't get a chance to run it as much last year, can he run enough in addition to passing? Do they have that one guy who can do everything that they want to do?
I don't, as far as receiver goes.
No,
quarterback.
As far as quarterback goes.
Yeah, I think Tavaka is the guy that can do it all, because he is the most effective runner, the most dynamic runner. There's just it's hard to explain because there's just something about him. Like I said, when he gets in control of the offense, something changes. You know, it's more up tempo. It's just a better in sync. And I think he can make all the throws. I do, and it's just knowing when to run and knowing when to slide. I think that's his biggest challenge. But you know, the receivers, I think each receiver brings something to the table, and that they'll find some playmakers there. I mean, Elijah Lilly's their top returner, and he missed most of the spring because of hamstring. But I think that allowed other guys to step up. But they're still going to be looking to Lilly for the big plays.
One of the big other questions that I had, and I know you had an article about Bryson Carroll moving, running backs, Lobos, who for when Bob Davie first got here were known for a great stable of running backs. I think that's kind of changed a little bit the last year.
The last year or two, they probably didn't have that one explosive back that they've had. And you can talk to this. I think that the running back core is good, but they have kind of lacked that one guy. Who
the home run hitter.
Yeah,
the home run hitter. I mean, is Carroll that guy, or is it one of the returners, Vigilant? Is he that guy? I mean, is there someone that stepped up or really kind of shined above all the other running backs that are currently on the roster?
I don't think anybody has shined really throughout the spring. Coach Davie even said that he's very concerned about the running backs. But yeah, I would say Davon Vigilant is probably the top returner. He showed a lot of good glimpses last year. But Bryson, I don't see Bryson being like the bell cow type back, but he's going to be a really good running back as far as situational goes. They could put him in various spots. He used to be a quarterback. They have that option as well with him, and he's, in my opinion, he's the fastest running back, and he's the most capable of that home run type play. And they could put him anywhere. They could put him at slot. They did put him at slot receiver, and he creates mismatches with that. But it should be interesting to see the running backs because they are kind of the unknown as far as the offense goes.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break here on Red Menace TV. We'll be back. Want to talk a little bit about the Mountain West Conference and the new potential television deal that they're trying to drum up. Not exciting stuff, but hey, it's, spring practice is over, and we could talk a little bit more Lobo football if you want to go. And golf. You're doing golf now for the Albuquerque
golf.
Turn?
We had that big local qualifier on yesterday. Yeah, it was on Tuesday. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll be back right after this.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there, with car insurance for when things go wrong, but also here with car loans to help life go right. State Farm.
Talk to State Farm agent Marty Size or Michelle Rudolph in Albuquerque today.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
And welcome back to Red Menace TV. Real quick, I mean, we touched on it at the opening, Mike, and I'll bring you in on this as well, Steve. Mountain West Conference is currently trying to get a television deal of some sort. I know you weren't here when the Mountain was around. I used to love the Mountain. It was its own network. I know they had troubles with distribution outside of the footprint and all that stuff, but it's 2019. You can put a footprint online anywhere. I mean, we're doing it here on ProView.
You know, it's funny for all the flack the Mountain West catches about a variety of things. They were really ahead of the curve on conference, channel, conference network, and it's a shame that they, decided to do away with that because, to go back to it now is going to be harder for them. You look at whether it's SEC network, the ACC network is coming here in the next couple of months, and all the big conferences have their own network. I don't know what's left out there as far as getting deals with whether it's Direct or Comcast or whatever. I don't know what's out there for the other conferences.
Steve, what do you think about this idea? You use a platform kind of like ProView does, and we're affiliated with NFHS Network for the championship games. But what if the Mountain did something like for a $10 fee, you can get access to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these other, it would be streaming. It may not be the same the quality's pretty close if you're watching on your television now because it's streaming.
If you've got good internet, yeah, I stream so much stuff now.
I mean, do you think fans would be willing to pay that $10 to be able to catch all the games?
That's a good question. I think it's an option as far as UNM goes, as far as finding that sweet TV deal. I think it's an option for sure, and everything's on the table basically now because it's an opening that they want to settle before the fall. But it's all about finding that perfect balance, and I think they're exploring something like that as well. But I really do believe they want to have more people at the stadium. They really want that. And that's where that perfect balance comes in as far as, the start time of the game is very important. And that's when the TV deals are crucial as well. So they're trying to find that perfect balance of where, they can get a good game start time and still get money from a TV deal.
Now, I don't think you guys are as old as I am. I think I'm a little bit older than both of you.
You're older than everybody.
But you're generational wise, I mean, you grew up watching sports on television. Kids now and going to the stadium, and I think we see that a lot. Though, I mean, you look at the United; they're packing it in here locally. But how many kids really are willing to go to and kids and teenagers and college students are willing to go to a football game or a basketball game live when you can just watch it on one of these things?
Well, if you give them a good product, they'll still go. But yeah, you're right. In this day and age, it's about the iPads, it's about the phones. There's so many different ways, but they can be companion pieces. I go to 8, 9 UFC events a year, and I'm watching them live. I'm also following stuff, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's streaming, backstage stuff or whatever. I mean, so those things can be used as companion pieces as well. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the Mountain West does. I don't know that they go strictly streaming. I think you'd like a streaming companion to go along with whatever you're doing, whether it's CBS Sports Network or AT&T Sportsnet, ESPN, whatever. But, as Steve just talked about, the issue is those late start times. And while it's great being on national TV, an 8 o'clock on a Friday night start time doesn't work at most places in the Mountain West. And yeah, you're getting a little more money, from your TV partner, but you're losing so much at the gate. From that standpoint, it cancels itself out. And if you can bring some of those games, to a streaming platform or your own regional network, and you're getting more noon or 2 o'clock Saturday kickoffs, theoretically, at least you'll get more butts in the stands.
Well, you got that, but you could also stream it. And I think, the talk was always recruits can watch the game if it's on ESPN. And
sure.
But I mean, gosh, recruits nowadays, they're watching this. They're not, they're not watching ESPN. They're not waiting for a midnight start on the East Coast for an ESPN game. They'll just watch it on this the next day. Anyway, real quick, because we're running out of time, I did want to ask you a couple questions, Steve. 3 Lobo players signed rookie-type contracts, or at least invited into camps. And then also, one last thing I wanted to close out, and take it however you want. Did you see anything in spring practice that makes you think this program is going to get more wins this year than they did the previous year?
Well, the former Lobos, you got Jalen Burrell signing with the Chiefs UDFA contract, as well as D'Angelo Ross, another defensive back with the Patriots, and Delane Hart-Johnson, the receiver. He's got a rookie camp tryout with the Seahawks. As far as spring goes, I think it's too early. I haven't really seen anything. I haven't really seen anything that's going to say this is going to be a turnaround season. But we still have August, and we'll see what happens there.
Awesome. Great politically correct answer there, Steve Virgin. I like that. Bob Davey will send you a Christmas card for that one.
You never know what could happen. That's what's beautiful about football.
We want to thank Steve for being part of today's show. Yep. For Micah Frankel, Steve Virgin, Michael Carlisle, and my man Josh. They're tickling over there. I'm Leroy Lucero. We'll see you next week. Until then, God bless you all.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team